legal nurse consulting, or an LNC. So we're going to use the term LNC throughout the podcast, but just so you guys know what that means. Danielle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You're welcome. So LNC is kind of a broad term. Can you tell my listeners who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I am a, legal nurse consultant, and I split my time between doing the consultant work and staying active at the bedside. So pretty much the LNC work is, I consult with attorneys that do cases that involve a ton of medical records. So I help review them, analyze them, create timelines, to really improve their efficiency and also help with the credibility aspect of the medical portion of their cases.
Love it because the lawyers don't really have the medical background when they take these cases. They're more the legal experts, obviously. And we
Totally.
all know medical jargon is so dense. Even for
Oh,
nursing,
yeah.
sometimes reading those medical records is tough. So they need a nurse to kind of come in and do that. And that's what you do?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Some of them are a little more in tune with some of the medical terminology than others, but yeah, they are not, trained medical professionals. They're not clinicians, so they don't have that lens for those acronyms, for understanding like what caused what, and really like seeing the picture of what deviations in the standard of care occurred to result in those damages. So yeah, that's pretty much where I hop in and I help them out. And yeah, we kind of tag team the cases, and it's a really great collaboration.
Awesome. And so you started as a patient safety officer, then you transitioned to LNC. Can you tell my listeners more about like what a patient safety officer is and how you got into that role and how that led to being an LNC?
Sure. Yeah, so it was all like very seamless, and it just felt like one thing built on top of the other. I was always super passionate about, quality improvement, being involved at the bedside. And I took some time away from the bedside to work full time in risk management because I felt like I was doing, a lot of projects, and there was just so much you could do while still being fully clinical. So transitioned into risk and loved it. A lot of the work as a patient safety officer was around, patient safety events, sentinel events, safety reporting in your hospital system. Um, and actually, it was there that someone I was working with suggested legal nurse consulting, and they were like, your report writing's really, really good, and you would really succeed in that field. And so I had never heard of it until someone suggested it. And then I looked into it and I was like, gosh, this is kind of what I'm doing, consulting on these adverse events, reviewing them, and writing reports.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I could see how safety and sentinel events really leads to LMC now that you broke it down. I love that another nurse suggested that. I'm seeing a pattern of nurses suggesting roles that are similar to another nurse's personality. I keep asking this question
Yes.
to people because I'm like super curious about how they got into their role. And they're like, yeah, a coworker suggested this role to me, which I love that nurses are just collaborating and just like seeing another nurse's like authenticity in their pros and cons and suggesting a role that fits them. Like that makes me so happy to hear.
I know, absolutely. It's great. I love the collaboration, and I love when people ask about things and I can share.